Shadow Binders is back in stock on shopclownfish.com. That's shopclownfish.com. And now on with the show. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And Black Widow broke $100 million this weekend.
Well, it did more than that.
It did. Actually, they had to roll all the numbers together, but it did pretty well. Did 80 million in theaters and 60 million on Disney Plus and like 78 million.
Yeah, it was
overseas.
right underneath it on overseas.
Yeah. Well, this is like the last shred of the old MCU, that we're gonna get, and it was more of a almost like an espionage spy thriller type movie, which they really like over there. Lots of motorcycle chases and that sort of thing. So we'll talk about it, our thoughts on the movie too. We'll tell you when we're going to get into spoiler territory, but first we're going to talk about the box office. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 206,000 subs.
Woohoo!
I almost said million because I keep seeing these million numbers.
Yeah. No, that's no.
More than PewDiePie. Yeah. So we were talking the other day about whether or not Black Widow was going to break 100 million in the US. And it did, but you had to combine the Disney Plus numbers with it, but we kind of figured that was going to happen. I mean, we watched it on Disney Plus. We didn't go to the theater,
Right, but you have to understand too, like with Disney Plus, they could also do a thing where, for all we know, they had different places running it on different computers. It doesn't necessarily mean it was people watching it. I'm not saying that's what they did.
Yeah.
I'm not saying what they did. That's what they did. I don't think that's what. But I'm saying people could argue that we don't know that 60 million is accurate or not. You know what I mean?
You have to take Disney's word for it.
Right.
So anyway, the combined haul was over 200 million. So from a certain point of view, it did really well. It actually did better than F9, I guess. They did 70 million at the box office. So anyway, let's talk about the numbers here. CNBC, Black Widow snags 80 million from its theatrical debut and 60 million from Disney Plus. Now I know people are going back to the theater because we went to go see, so far this year, Demon Slayer and Quiet Place 2. And both were opening night or opening weekend, and both were pretty full, which I was surprised. And I know Quiet Place 2 especially did really well opening weekend. So people will go back to the theater. The question is whether or not Disney really wants them to go back to the theater because they have to share. I think
that's true.
Disney would rather you just sit at home and give them all the money. They don't have to share with the distributor.
But they're going on about how it's the biggest box office opening in the since the pandemic, and it's like, but of course it is because it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I mean, and that still is relevant because it's like the numbers are big, but yeah, because it's going to be because of the pandemic. There have been other movies that could have done as well had we not had the pandemic happen. So it is from a certain point of view there, but it didn't do bad.
No, it didn't. And this to me, we'll talk about the plot here a little bit, but to me, it felt like the end of the classic MCU, and now it's going to be phase 4 from here on out. So it was kind of a bittersweet. I think of that way. I was like, this is like the end of the line for the old guard. But yeah. Anyway, here we go. This is coming from CNBC. Black Widow has stolen the pandemic era box office crowd. I don't think anybody thought it was not going to.
No, I mean, I figured it would do well. I mean, Disney was going to make sure no matter what.
Oh, God, yeah.
Take that as you will.
The latest Marvel film scored 80 million at the box office during its debut domestically, the most of any film released in the wake of COVID. Over the weekend, around 81% of theaters were open to the public, according to data from ComScore. Open to like 4,100 screens.
That's true, too. There's a lot more theaters open right now than there were like several months ago as well.
Oh, yeah. Even when we went to go see Demon Slayer, like only half the movie theaters were open at that point.
There's a lot of stuff going on that would, help it do better.
Here we go. We knew it. Called this one. Disney also revealed that it garnered more than 60 million globally from the sales of the film through Disney Plus Premier Access. This is the first time the company has shared information about movie sales earned from its streaming service.
We kept saying they won't tell you this stuff.
They will. We called that in the other video. We said if they don't hit that magic 100 million number at the box office in the US, they'll roll in the Disney Plus numbers to make sure they did. Like, oh, no, it actually did way better. We did 60 million.
Normally they don't tell you this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so that's why they did it, just to make sure you knew that the Marvel brand wasn't damaged, guys. This is an unprecedented way of reporting opening weekend business for a film, but Disney deserves some credit for detailing what was generated by the actual box office and what was earned from streaming. Hopefully, this sets a standard for even more transparency across the industry. Good luck with that. It's crucial to keep perspective on the unique circumstances and times.
Oh my God, the unprecedented times.
Unprecedented times. 78 million from international ticket sales. So yeah, I mean, we knew this was going to happen. We knew it was going to happen. Of course it is. And Disney, they might be forced to, tell people what their numbers are now just to justify some of these movies being made.
But again, that doesn't mean that it's legitimate numbers. I mean, it might be in this case, but here's the thing, like what we saw with Captain Marvel, where there's all these tickets sold, but there was no one in the theaters. You could easily, run the movie on with passes or whatever on so many different computers and say, oh, look, or TVs or whatever. And it doesn't mean people paid for them. It doesn't mean that, that actually was the number. I'm not saying that's what they did here. I'm just saying you can't trust anybody's internal numbers.
Oh, this is funny though. They bring this up. They said for the first time since March 2020, the total domestic box office has collected more than 100 million. Yeah, if you factor in Disney Plus.
Right, which they would not have mentioned if they hadn't hit that 100
Right.
million.
So heading into the weekend, box office analysts predicted Black Widow could capture at least 80 million. Strong advanced ticket sales led some to believe it could have achieved an even higher haul,
It didn't.
Yeah, it didn't. Even with the film debuting on Disney Plus for $30 the same day. Previously, Disney has remained silent on how its streaming services same day offering
We just told you why.
Yep. The 60 million captured on Disney Plus shows that this could be a viable option for the brands in the future. However, Disney's next Marvel film, Shang-Chi, is only going to be in theaters.
Yeah, and that's the one that China's panning heavily.
Now, this is where it's interesting, okay? Whether or not Disney Plus earnings should even be considered successful is almost impossible to objectively measure right now, said Robbins. That's not only due to virtually non-existent comparison points, but also the long-term impact regarding the degradation of downstream ancillary revenues, blah, 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 blah. Basically, he's kind of saying yeah, they're going to tout this as a win, but is it really a win?
We don't know. There's nothing to compare it to.
Yeah, we don't know. Now, if Shang-Chi doesn't do well, I guarantee you they're gonna go back to that model for the Eternals or something.
Well, they will, because then they can say what their numbers are in quotes. We got that much number, because I don't think Shang-Chi or the Eternals. Black Widow was going to, because it was everybody's been asking for Black Widow movie. It's kind of the last one of Phase 3, going on, and it kind of does feel like a Phase 3 type movie.
Yeah,
and she's gone. It was the only time you're gonna get to see her in a film. They were going to do well with this no matter what. But that's not the way it is for Shang-Chi and the Eternals. Most people don't give a shit because they've established Black Widow.
Yeah.
People don't give a shit about Shang-Chi and the Eternals. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. So I don't expect them to do well. And if they do, I have questions.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this was kind of the last hurrah for the MCU as we've known it. For sure. And I think it's kind of the same with the shows on Disney Plus. We've got Loki and, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Scarlet Witch. Those are all characters that were pre-existing. I think going forward with a bunch of new characters is going to be the real test as to whether or not, the MCU is going to have a life, after Tony Stark, if it actually was the end game. So we can talk about the movie itself. I guess this is the spoiler part.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Spoilers?
Yep, spoilers. Turn it off if you don't want to hear anything.
They probably turned us off already.
Probably did.
I don't care. All right. So the movie itself, thoughts?
Okay. Well, I did a review on it, and my review is gonna be different than Neon's review.
Yep.
I'm just gonna tell you straight up, because I liked it better than he did. It was a good movie. It was better than Captain Marvel. So, but as Aaron said, that's a low bar. So,
yeah.
But it was better than Captain Marvel. I did not hate it. I thought it was good. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't have problems. There were some glaring problems. I thought it was fun. I thought that having the Red Room where it was actually kind of clever. I thought the family dynamic was kind of sweet. I thought that you got the whole sibling rivalry going on with those two. I have a sister. I know how it goes. She'd totally make fun of me. I totally make fun of her. That's how it is. That was cool. That being said, Where they lose me was when they kept pushing in the PR. Oh, it's this feminist movie, girl power, and right away that's turning people off. Stop talking. My advice to you, Disney: stop pushing that and just stop talking, because it really wasn't super feminist. But when they did try, they basically their idea of feminism was we're gonna make the guys idiots.
Yeah, let me
disgusting.
Let me pull something up that a friend sent us. Jason sent this over. This is the advertisement for Fandango. F is for female. Black Widow.
So you're not doing yourself any favors here. And that's why I have a problem. You didn't need to do this. Like, no. It was a good movie on its own, and the characters were good, and not just the female characters. The characters, well, the male characters are kind of played down, but you know what I mean? You had potential for good characters the whole way around. You didn't have to do this. And Hollywood in general keeps thinking the way to win people over is to push this female, like we saw it with Captain Marvel, Hero, and all that. And Captain Marvel, I'm sorry, was not a good movie. It was okay. It was middle range. It wasn't the worst, but it was definitely not the best. And this is better than that. So you're just kind of like, doing damage to yourself. Because every time we see movies like the Terminator one, all that with female push, it's kind of hurt itself. Because even women are like rolling their eyes like, oh my God, here we go again. I know I was.
Get ready for Vagina Force.
Yeah, I know. It's like, and of course you can't have strong female characters that compete against or that work against male characters that are on equal footing. Oh, no. You can't have that. Like it started out like Alexei. He started out as like, oh my God, he got, was hanging off the wings of an airplane. You're like, he's really competent. He got it done. And then when you see him again, he's a bumbling buffoon who's proud he can still fit in his uniform. And he's a complete narcissistic dumbass. And it didn't even make sense. Like, why would you go from being super competent to being a narcissistic dumbass? It just...
Prison. He became a lot of people's bitches.
I don't know. It just... And then,
Singular.
You can talk about the Taskmaster thing because that's more your thing. But
oh my God.
The other thing that got me was what was the guy's name who ran the Red Room? My mind blank.
Russian Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, that's what he was. Yes.
That's literally what he was. Russian Harvey Weinstein. As soon as I saw, like the look and everything, he was Russian Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, pretty much. And it was like,
groan-inducing.
He was like, oh, we get it. He's a toxic, misogynistic douche. Yes, we know. Why they can't kill him is because they smell him. I'm like, ew. I was like super creeped out by that. I was like,
that was the point. They wanted you to.
I know, but it was just dumb. It was a combination of being cringe from being like really stupid and being really like, ew. Like, ew. And then he's, because you can't smell, if you smell me, you can't hurt me. And then he makes comments about women being, an abundant natural resource. I'm like, one, no one talks like that. And two, it's like, we get it. He's a douche. Yes, we know. So, bad, misogynist, toxic, man bad was the bad guy.
Man bad or man dumb. So we had man dumb.
And they didn't need to go there. Like, that's just what got me with that. It didn't need to be that way. Like, even up to that point, they could have taken it and kept going with the direction they were going in. And he just wanted an army and he was brainwashing people.
Fembots.
And, he could have kept going there. But then they had to take it that extra bit to make him Harvey Weinstein-esque and you smell me. They didn't need to do that.
It still would have been,
it would have been good. It would have been better if they hadn't done that. If they hadn't made Alexei a buffoonic idiot for no reason, it would have been better. Like, they lost it with those choices. And then the other choice I'll let you talk about.
Yeah. So, the elephant in the room is not the Harvey Weinstein stand-in, but Taskmaster. What the hell? Just what the hell? It was, I shouldn't be surprised.
Oh, I said it was going to be a woman.
Yeah, no, everybody.
First time I saw that, I was like, oh, it's going to be a girl.
Yeah, it was like they're, and they did this with Ghost and Ant-Man and the Wasp, but in this case, Taskmaster is a legendary Marvel villain. Badass Marvel villain, and, the only thing I can compare how they treated Taskmaster to would be like, people brought up Deadpool from Wolverine Origins. I brought up Bane from Batman and Robin, Venom from Spider-Man 3, where clearly they had no clue who or what the character was supposed to be. Now, it's possible, especially with the multiverse thing, that they could go back and actually give us a proper Taskmaster at some point in time, and it'd be cool to see. But yeah, just to have the Taskmaster just be used as another, men bad.
It's his daughter, so he's even more of a douche, and she brainwashed too,
Yeah.
I was like, see, for me, it wasn't such a big deal as it was for Neon on the Taskmaster thing. I mean, I already figured that's what they were going to do, but I didn't read the comics, so I wasn't, attached to it in the way like Neon was, where he knew the character from a long time ago. And if nothing else about the MCU, they clearly, I think they pander to the general public who doesn't know the comics more than they do to the people who read the comics. Especially now, since they just basically tell you they don't want you if you're a comic reader, unless you like their stuff.
I mean, I would say from here on out, I think this is what we're going to see a lot of in Phase 4 is that, the MCU is very much for normies. It's not for comic book fans anymore. It never really was. I mean, even Tony Stark. I mean, as much as I love Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, he was not comic book Tony Stark. I would actually say Robert Downey Jr. was better than comic book Tony Stark. Comic book Tony Stark was kind of generic. He was drunk Batman.
Yeah. He gave it more personality and more swagger,
So, but it's going to be very different from here on out. And they can always walk it back with the multiverse crap too.
I know, but that's dumb. That's just lazy. Don't do that.
It is.
But I mean, as far as the movie goes overall, it was not a bad movie. I watch it again. Like, I won't watch Captain Marvel again. I'd watch this one again because it was action from the get-go. Things made sense. It seemed organic in the way things, happened and moved. It wasn't like it feels forced and there's an exposition dump. It actually moved like an MCU movie. You know what I mean? It flowed. It had a lot of action. It was interesting. They got the point across of who these characters were without a lot of that. Like let me sit here and tell you blah 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 blah. You know. And it wasn't a bad movie. It sounds like we're like, it's terrible. And that's not what I'm saying.
No, I mean, I
give it about 7.5.
I'd give it a 6.5 or a 7. It was okay. I mean, it was an okay movie. I mean, I definitely didn't hate it. I didn't hate Captain Marvel either. I mean, I thought Captain Marvel was.
I thought it was okay.
Was okay.
I don't think it was the best, but it was not the worst.
I mean, it's not. I don't think we've quite gotten into Thor 2 territory or
no. Thor 2 is so bad.
Thor 2 is really bad. Yeah, it was okay. It was a competent movie. If I were flipping through I mean, I'd never pay to go see it again. But if I were flipping through the channels and I saw it, I might be like, there's nothing else to watch. I'll watch Black Widow again. But the villains were cringy. I mean, they were very cringy. It
was like, what caricature of toxic masculinity and misogyny can we do? Oh, a Harvey Weinstein stand-in. And it was very much like that. And I just don't understand they keep doing that. Like, you see it too with, like, we saw it in Last Jedi, where in order to make other characters suddenly, elevated, they have to, make other characters like, somehow less than to so that they're beating them. But that actually is a disservice to the female characters too. They should be equal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They should be on the same footing, and you're still winning like in a fair fight, if that makes sense. And they start out that way, like with Lexi and stuff, and then he suddenly changes from being competent, hanging off the wings of an airplane, to oh look, the suit still fits. Golly gee,
Yeah, it was like, I don't know if they were going for Mr. Incredible, but the difference is Mr. Incredible actually was competent. He actually, saved his family. He was actually, kind of a badass. He'd just been out of it for a while. Alexei was just a dumbass. You're like, how is this guy the Russian Captain America?
He went from badass to dumbass.
Yeah, it's like, how in the hell? It's like Homer Simpson, giving Homer Simpson superpowers and a bottle of vodka. It was like, come on.
And then, the whole family thing that they left them when they were kids because they were like high, end spies or whatever. And then, now they want to be a family again. It's a little bit of a stretch. I guess it makes sense for the girls because that was the only family they ever knew. But then I'm like, they walked away before, and now you're like, oh, suddenly they throw it away to save them and bring the family back together, which was a little bit of a stretch. Yeah. But, I didn't hate it. I liked the movie overall. I mean, I liked it more than Neon easily, but I'm more the target audience than I think you are. I didn't know the character Taskmaster like you did.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's what you got to remember with these Marvel movies going forward is that Marvel movies are not for Marvel Comics fans. They really aren't. They started out being a little more fan friendly. And then in Loki, they're putting some Easter eggs and stuff in there for the comics fans, which, is kind of cool. But the movies they're for general audiences that don't read comic books. I mean, that's the way it is. And going forward, the Eternals and Shang-Chi are going to barely have anything to do with the comics, I think, at this point. But
so at the end of the day, if we had to do it over again, would you buy it?
Yeah,
I would.
We would have gone to the theater to see it anyway. I think I would have been more excited about it before the pandemic. And I'll tell you the truth. This right here, this marketing campaign.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And all the stuff that it almost feels like they've been holding a gun to Scarlett Johansson's head to get her to say, I
don't know. But it is working against them.
It's working against them.
Doubling down on it. It's like, this is actually what's causing you your problems. Don't do that. Don't just do it. Hey, everybody already knows Black Widow. They already know she kicks ass and takes names. They like her already from, the MCU. They were upset when she was dead. You don't need to do this to promote her. It's not like Captain Marvel where they're just like, oh, it's a new character we don't know. That you didn't need this. Everybody knows she kicks ass and takes names. You didn't need it.
I was just thinking about her being dead. I'm like, yeah, so you're watching the movie, it's got this upbeat ending. And then after credits scene, we're reminded that she's dead. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh yeah, that's right, the MCU's dead.
Right, because you have everything has to be a lead into the next thing.
Yep.
And that's annoying. But, you don't need to do this. You don't do the F is for female and feminism. And the movie would have been good if you hadn't made hit their weakness pheromones. And, his comment about abundant natural resource, overly abundant women. I'm like...
You can't kill me because of my ball stink.
I'm just like, that was you. Until you got to that. You did so well. Until you got to that. I mean, you and Alexi, I could let that pass because
oh god,
he's been in prison a while. It does stuff to you. But I was like, that's the big plan. That's how he keeps them from killing him. Oh, because you can't kill me if you smell my pheromones. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? As a woman, I think that's stupid.
Hey, that's the only reason I'm still alive.
You do smell nice.
Sometimes.
I'm not gonna lie. It's a problem.
I try.
He knows. There's a certain type of cologne he wears that he knows I like, and he wears it all the time. Especially if he's gonna be in trouble. He's just like, oh, I know I'm in trouble now.
You can't yell at me.
Okay.
You can't yell at me. I smell good.
What were you saying as you try to waft it towards me?
My pheromones compel you to stop talking.
that never happened. So,
we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah.
All right. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.